AITA for refusing to let my parents move into the house I bought for them because they made me feel like garbage my whole life. I, 32F, am the youngest of 3 siblings. My parents always made it clear that I was the difficult one. Not because I actually was difficult, but because I didn't fit into the mold they wanted. My brother, 35M, was the golden child, captain of the football team, straight A student, always praised. My sister, 37F, was the responsible one, the one they could rely on for anything. Me? I was the one who talked back, overreacted, and made everything about myself. When I was growing up, it was like every achievement I made was minimized. Straight A's? That's expected, nothing to brag about. College scholarship? You got lucky. Even when I graduated top of my class in engineering, my mom's response was, "Your brother could have done that too if he'd wanted to." I remember crying in the car that day, not because I was sad exactly, but because it hit me how little my achievements mattered to them. When I got my first job out of college, it was a big deal. It paid decently, but I was still paying student loans and helping with family stuff when I could. My parents always seemed to need something: money for car repairs, help with bills, babysitting my nieces. I helped when I could, but they always expected more. "You make so much money," my mom would say, ignoring that I lived in a cramped apartment and barely had savings. Fast forward to now. I've done well in my career. I worked my way up in a tech company and, through a combination of hard work and sheer luck, got a promotion that came with a huge raise. I was able to buy a house, something I never thought I'd do. It's a 3-bedroom place, not huge, but beautiful, and in a quiet area my parents always said they wish they could live in someday. A few months ago, my dad's health started declining. He had a mild stroke, and while he's recovering, he can't work anymore. My mom works part-time, but they've always been bad with money. When I found out they were going to lose their rental because the landlord was selling, I felt terrible. I knew they had nowhere to go, and my first instinct was to help. So I started looking for houses they could afford, maybe something I could help them rent. But everything was too expensive. That's when I came up with the idea of buying a smaller second house for them. Something modest, maybe a fixer-upper, but safe and comfortable. I ran the numbers, and with my savings and a reasonable mortgage, it was doable. When I told my parents, they were thrilled at first. My mom cried, my dad hugged me, and for once, it felt like they actually appreciated me. I found a cute 2-bedroom place about 20 minutes from me and started the process. It needed some renovations, so I told them it would take a couple of months before they could move in. But then everything changed. My mom started saying things like, "We were thinking maybe we could just stay with you for a while, and your house is so big, you don't even use all the space." I told her gently that I needed my privacy and that I'd already committed to buying the smaller house for them. She brushed it off, saying it didn't make sense for me to pay for 2 houses. Then my brother called. He said Mom and Dad felt hurt that I didn't want them living with me and accused me of keeping them at arm's length. He told me that since I owe everything to them for raising me, I should be willing to give back. When I said I'm giving back by buying them a whole house, he said that family isn't about money. I was furious. I told him he and my sister could help too, but of course they both had excuses. My sister said she can't afford it with kids, and my brother said he has his own financial struggles. Yet somehow, I'm the one expected to solve everything. The worst part came when I overheard my mom talking to my aunt on speakerphone. She said, "She's so selfish. Always thinks she's better than us. She just wants to show off her money." I stood there frozen. This was after everything I was doing for them. I confronted her, and she didn't even apologize. She just said I was too sensitive and misunderstood her tone. That was the moment I snapped. I told her that if she truly thought I was selfish, maybe she didn't deserve the house at all. I told her I'd cancel the purchase and that she and Dad would have to find their own solution. She started crying, saying I was abandoning them. My dad said I was breaking his heart. I told them both I'd been trying to make up for a lifetime of being treated like garbage, but maybe I was just trying to buy love that never existed. My siblings went ballistic. My brother said I was heartless and cruel for holding their age and health against them. My sister said I was being vindictive and trying to prove a point. But I'm tired of being treated like I owe them my life. Now the house deal is in limbo. My realtor says I can still back out without penalties, but my parents have nowhere to go once their lease ends next month. My mom keeps leaving me voicemails begging me to reconsider, and my dad's messages are more guilt trips than anything else. Stuff like, "I thought we raised you better than this." I feel horrible. Part of me wants to just let them move in, tell myself I'm doing the right thing, and try to keep the peace. But another part of me knows it'll never be enough. If they move in, they'll criticize how I live, make demands, and I'll end up hating every second in my own home. A friend told me I'm not responsible for fixing my parents' financial mess or for healing old wounds. But I can't shake the guilt. I keep thinking about how my dad can't work anymore, how my mom sounds so tired, and how maybe this is the last chance to have a real family connection before it's too late. Still, every time I imagine them living with me, I feel this pit in my stomach. I remember every birthday they forgot, every insult disguised as advice, every time they told me I was a disappointment. I don't think I can open my home and my sanity to that again, no matter how much they need me. So here I am, stuck between doing what feels morally right and what feels emotionally necessary for my survival. AITA for refusing to let my parents move into the house I bought for them. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. It helps the content grow and motivates me to create even more great videos. Turn on notifications so you don't miss any new uploads. By the way, I'm curious, when do you usually watch my videos? While working, studying, or just relaxing at home? Let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear from you. Thank you for your support. AITA for refusing to let my sister and her fiancé use my wedding venue after they canceled theirs to save money. So I, 29F, got engaged last year to my fiancé, Ethan, 31M, and we're getting married next summer. I've been planning this wedding since last fall, and honestly, I'm the kind of person who loves organizing events, so I've been very detail-oriented with everything: the decor, catering, seating, flowers, the works. My younger sister, Lily, 26F, got engaged about 3 months after me to her fiancé, Matt, 27M. We're pretty close, or at least we were before all this. She's always been a bit more spontaneous while I'm the planner. When she got engaged, she wanted to have her wedding around the same time as mine, like literally the same month, because she said she didn't want to wait. Our parents gently suggested she pick another season just to spread things out, and because our family isn't exactly swimming in money, but Lily brushed it off and said it would be fun to have 2 weddings close together. She and Matt originally booked a smaller local venue for their ceremony, a renovated barn that was cute but modest. Mine is at a countryside estate about an hour outside the city. It's not extravagant, but it's definitely pricier, and I've been saving and budgeting carefully for it. A few weeks ago, Lily called me out of the blue, sounding stressed. She said they decided to cancel their venue because it was too expensive and they wanted to focus on saving for the future. I told her that made sense and that smaller weddings can still be beautiful. She said she'd let me know what they decided to do next. 2 days later, I got a text from her that honestly floored me. She said something like, "So Matt and I had a great idea. Since your venue is already booked and paid for, maybe we could have our ceremony there too, just earlier in the day. Like we could do a morning ceremony and brunch reception, and then you guys could do your wedding in the evening. It'd be so cute and save everyone travel costs." I thought she was joking, but nope, she meant it seriously. I called her and asked if she'd actually spoken to the venue about it, and she said no, she wanted to run it by me first. I told her it wasn't possible, not just because of timing, but because my venue contract doesn't allow multiple events on the same day. It's in the agreement. She got really defensive and said I was being rigid and unsupportive. I told her it wasn't about that. It's about logistics and boundaries. I suggested she look into community halls or even backyard setups if she wanted to cut costs. She got quiet and said, "You could at least ask the venue. It doesn't hurt to ask." So I checked, mostly just to prove my point. The venue manager confirmed that it wasn't allowed and that even if it were, it would cost a huge extra fee for additional staff and setup changes. When I told Lily that, she said, "Well, you can afford it," and I just about lost it. I told her that it wasn't about what I could afford. It was my wedding day. I said I wasn't comfortable sharing my wedding venue, even hypothetically. I've spent a year planning this, and I don't want to risk anything being disrupted or rushed. Lily hung up on me. The next day, my mom called and said Lily was really hurt, and that maybe I should be flexible since we're sisters. She said Lily was just overwhelmed and trying to find solutions. I asked Mom if she understood what Lily was asking for, to literally use my venue the morning of my wedding. Mom said, "It's just a few hours difference, like that made it okay." Ethan thinks this whole thing is insane and said we should draw a hard line now before Lily tries to make other requests. He's right. Since then, Lily's texted asking if she could at least use the garden for photos the day before our wedding since everything will already be decorated. I said no, because again, the venue is reserved for our setup day, and I don't want anyone messing with the decorations or timeline. Now she's not speaking to me, and my mom keeps saying I'm making a big deal out of nothing and hurting family over a venue. Even my dad, who usually stays out of drama, said I could have handled it with more grace. But from my perspective, this isn't just about money or convenience. It's about boundaries. I've spent months coordinating everything down to the hour, and the thought of someone else using my space, potentially leaving things messy or chaotic before my ceremony, makes my skin crawl. Not to mention the emotional side. I don't want my wedding day to feel like someone else's leftovers. Then, 2 days ago, Lily posted a long, passive-aggressive rant on social media about how some people care more about aesthetics than family, and how money changes people. Several of her friends commented things like, "That's so selfish," and "she'll regret it someday." Now some extended relatives are messaging me asking what's going on. I haven't responded because I don't want to feed the drama, but it's getting harder to ignore. The part that's making me second-guess myself is that I do love my sister, and she's not usually this dramatic. I think she's genuinely panicking about costs, and maybe this was her way of reaching out for help. But it still doesn't feel fair that I should give up my peace and plans because she didn't budget properly. My parents keep telling me to just let her calm down and don't escalate, but every time I stay quiet, it feels like the story is twisting against me. Ethan says we should just focus on our wedding and stop engaging with her entirely, but I hate the idea of this turning into a permanent family rift. Still, every time I imagine her walking down the same aisle I'll be using just hours before me, like the same arch, same decorations, same setting, I feel sick to my stomach. It feels like she's trying to merge our weddings into one, and that's just not what I want. So, Reddit, am I really the jerk for refusing to let my sister use my wedding venue? AITA for refusing to let my sister and her kids move into my house after she called me a selfish control freak for inheriting it? So, for context, my parents passed away about 3 years ago. It was sudden and horrible, and I don't think I've fully processed it even now. They left behind their home, the house I grew up in, along with some savings. In their will, they left the house to me. My sister, Lisa, 32F, got a generous chunk of money instead. I'm 35M, single, and I just moved back to our hometown after a breakup when everything happened. The will wasn't unfair. My parents had talked about it openly while they were alive. The reasoning was that I'd always been the one taking care of the house, mowing the lawn, fixing things, checking in on them weekly, while Lisa moved to another state years ago and rarely visited. She even said at the time she didn't want to be stuck in that boring suburb forever. The money she got was meant to help her buy a place of her own where she lived. When the will was read, she didn't say much in front of everyone, but later she texted me something like, "I hope you enjoy being mom and dad's favorite even in death." I try to brush it off as grief talking. For the first couple of years, things were fine. We'd text occasionally, see each other during holidays, and I honestly thought we were rebuilding our relationship. She had 2 kids, 8 and 5, and I was their Uncle Sam who always brings snacks. I love those kids. But about 6 months ago, Lisa's situation started to spiral. Her husband, Rick, lost his job, and they couldn't keep up with rent where they lived. Then she found out he was cheating on her, so she kicked him out. Suddenly, she was a single mom with no savings left because, and I quote, "Life's expensive and kids don't come cheap." She called me crying one night, saying she was being evicted and didn't know where to go. I felt terrible for her. I told her she and the kids could stay with me temporarily until she got back on her feet. I made it clear it was a short-term thing because I work from home and only have 2 bedrooms. One's my office. They moved in within a week. At first, it was fine. The kids were loud, but I didn't mind. Lisa seemed grateful. I cooked, helped with the kids' homework, and tried to make them comfortable. But slowly, things started feeling off. She began making comments about the house. Little digs like, "Must be nice living in this place rent-free," or, "I bet Mom and Dad never thought you didn't have a homeowner before me." I ignored it because I didn't want to argue. Then she started redecorating without asking. One day, I came home and she'd rearranged the living room furniture to make it more cozy for the kids. Another time, she removed my office desk so her daughter could have a space to draw. She moved my books and put a giant dollhouse there instead. I confronted her gently, saying I needed that desk for work. She rolled her eyes and said, "You can work from the dining table. It's not like you're doing surgery or something." After that, tension built up. She started referring to the house as our home around the kids, saying things like, "Uncle Sam's just helping us get settled into our home." When I corrected her, she'd give me this wounded look and say I was being controlling. The final straw came 2 weeks ago. I came back from visiting a friend and found a "for rent" sign in my front yard. I thought it was a prank until I realized she'd been talking to my neighbor about moving into the house officially and splitting rent. Apparently, she told people I'd agreed to rent her half the house long-term, which I absolutely had not. When I confronted her, she went ballistic. She accused me of hoarding the house, said it wasn't fair that I got it while she got some stupid money that's long gone, and that since she has kids, she deserves it more. She said our parents would have one of their grandkids to grow up there. I told her flat out that she needed to leave. I gave her a month's notice and offered to help her find a place and pay the deposit. She refused, called me selfish and heartless, and told me I was kicking out family to live alone like a sad hermit. The next day, she blasted me on Facebook. She wrote this long post about how family should come before property and how I care more about walls and furniture than my own niece and nephew. A bunch of her friends and even some relatives commented things like, "Family helps family," and "You're blessed with a house, share it." Now my cousins and aunt are calling me, saying I should at least let her stay until she finds something permanent, that it's cruel to evict a single mom. But it's been 6 months, she's made no effort to get a job, and she treats the house like it's already hers. I don't know what else to do. I feel guilty because I love those kids, and I know she's struggling, but I also feel taken advantage of. Every time I try to set a boundary, she acts like I'm betraying her. Last night, she told me she wouldn't move out unless I dragged her out. She said she has nowhere to go and that if I cared about my niece and nephew, I'd let them stay indefinitely. I told her I'd call the police if it came to that, which made her start crying and saying, "You're just like Dad, always picking control over compassion." That hit me hard. My dad was a strict man, but he was also fair. I know she resented him sometimes, but I never thought she'd use that comparison against me. Now I'm sitting here wondering if I'm really the bad guy. Maybe I could have been more understanding. Maybe she's right. Maybe family should come first, and I'm being too rigid. But I also feel like she's manipulating me with guilt. She's still in the guest room as I write this, acting like nothing happened. The kids are watching TV and asking if they'll get to live here forever. Every time I hear that, I feel like my stomach twists. AITA for standing my ground and refusing to let her stay.